I think, when it comes to starting any company or running any company, it's talent, talent, talent. Who can you get to join you? How can you leverage the skills of the people around you to drive your business forward and to get the people within your company to believe and get the people outside of your company to believe? It's all about that big idea, the vision, and then aligning others toward the same goal.
Today, we have a conversation with Sarah Fay. Sarah is the chair of the Ziff Davis Board of Directors and was most recently a partner at Glasswing Ventures, which is a Boston-based venture firm focused on artificial intelligence. Prior to this, she's held executive roles at some of the largest marketing communication firms in the world. Hello, Sarah. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me, Donovan.
Indeed. So let's just jump into it. There's so much to talk about these days, especially in the area of technology and media. So I want to start off with where you started out. So, which is at one point you ran one of the largest digital media agencies in the world. How has the media landscape changed since your tenure?
Yeah, I mean, I go way back to before there was an internet for marketing, and I actually established and built what became one of the biggest digital agencies. And of course, back then, it was we were imagining what the internet could do for advertising and marketing, and it was very much built on vision. At that point in time, the internet was pretty slow. The environment for advertising wasn't all that savory. I spent years as an evangelist, like you did, telling people what it would become. And, back in the day, fighting for little pieces of budget, we were happy if we would get 2%, 5% of budgets. But of course, how far it's come. Digital marketing is where advertising really begins these days. And, the percentage of budgets are typically more than 50%. So it's a big I told you so moment, all these years later, it really did come true. And most agencies don't even define themselves as being digital or, traditional. It's all of these things. All of the channels working together. So I think that we're in an interesting point with AI that's very similar, where we're just at the beginning phase. We're sort of in the middle of the beginning, and so much change is coming.
Indeed. So what was the inspiration? What inspired you to transition from leading media, marketing, working with big brands to working in the world of venture capital?
I left the agency world in 2009 and just started doing board work for mostly digital media companies and ad tech and martech types of businesses. So I got involved early in data related companies and just started doing board work and meeting lots of VCs. So in a typical situation, I was an independent board director. There were the founders, and then there were a number of VCs. I was calling myself VCs are us at one point because I became a source for founders as they were raising capital, to meet VCs. And that's how I met my partners when I became a VC. So I was doing that for a number of years and established a relationship with the founders of Glasswing Ventures and started doing that in 2016. So there were some years in the middle. Right. But I was given this great opportunity to join a firm that established itself to focus on AI and to be making early stage investments in B2B SaaS in that space. So I've spent 7 years with founders and, studying business concepts for AI. And it's been super exciting and really, you know, revelationary, in terms of like what I've come to understand AI to be.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So because you were in it at such an early point of AI, right? Most people know Glasswing as that firm that was having conversations with entrepreneurs and founders around artificial intelligence at such an early stage, right? Um, what do you, well, two things. One is what's different now versus then in terms of like the founder DNA, and also, did you ever think that the fever pitch was going to be what it is today?
Yeah, that was the prediction. But I would say, like, even before that, AI was an important element to a lot of technologies in the marketing space. I was on the board of X Plus One, which was the first DSP, and we talked about AI as our secret sauce. And that was a company that was acquired by Rocket Fuel in 2014. We didn't call it an AI business. Maybe we should have been calling it an AI business, but I certainly understood the important role of AI as a technology. And it was recognized that it was really the time for AI because the processing power was there. As of 2016, 2017, the chips were getting really powerful. And that was one of the things that held AI back was, the ability to crunch all the data that AI algorithms are known to do was difficult with the processing power that existed previously. And also, then, the amount of data that was available was starting to increase exponentially.
Well,
So, those are the two things that are really important for AI. Data is the lifeblood that makes AI work, and taking data from lots of different places and synthesizing that data to make predictive decisions, and then the processing power. So we were in a very good place by 2016 for AI to really start taking off. And obviously, when ChatGPT came on the scene, I feel like that is when consumers really started to understand what AI can do and the promise of it, and the fact that you can put this into everyone's hands and make them powerful.
So with that, once again, you were at the early stages of the birth of a business shift, right? So do you see any parallels or similarities in what were the early stages of the internet to where
Yeah.
we are today with generative AI?
Sure. I mean, think back to when, you know, digital just came on the scene. Companies that didn't get on board quickly or quickly enough got steamrolled. The really smart companies, the ones that, grabbed the bull by the horns and developed websites and started incorporating digital into the mix in their media and marketing strategies and the way that they communicated with their customers are the ones that, transformed into the next era. You didn't want to ignore digital. Also, digital wasn't just one thing. It was hundreds of things. It was a different skill set and behavior. So you couldn't just say, oh, this little department, this is our digital department, and they're going to help us do the digital things. You had to say to the whole organization, you had to become part of the digital revolution and to digitize every aspect of your business. And that is the same as AI. AI is going to be present in the way we do business, in every aspect of how we do business, just as digital was.
So recently you decided it was time for you to take a break and step away from the daily operations of being part of a venture fund. So what are you doing now?
Yeah, thanks. I've enjoyed being an investor for the past 7 years, but I've also continued board work over that period of time, and I am happy being a board member. I chair the board for Ziff Davis, which is a powerhouse digital publishing operation. In the categories, there are vertical categories of tech, gaming, health, shopping, and marketing and cybersecurity. I'll fill my plate with other types of board work. I'm not completely retiring. I like to stay active in business, and I will keep a focus on AI too, because every single business is looking to transform itself with AI these days. And I have a perspective on that I think it's useful.
As the chair of Ziff Davis, what are the key focus areas and priorities for the future, and how will AI impact an editorial focused content company like them?
Yeah, look, I mean, Ziff Davis has a hugely talented team led by the brilliant Vivek Shah, who's the CEO of the company, and they have a great direction and foundation to grow the company. AI plays an important role in that. And if you ask anybody in the company about what they're doing in AI, they all have various things they're working on. There are dozens of AI use cases that are in play at that company today. And I think that it's the mentality is that we just have to start doing it. And there are lots of ways that AI can be used to leapfrog various competitors in different categories. So for instance, you can use AI to up the volume of content significantly. You can use AI to create surprising and better experiences with end users, and you can use AI to automate business tasks and back-end functions. And like I said before, AI isn't one thing or another, it's hundreds of things. So it's not just a small group of people within the company who are doing it. It really is important to all of the businesses and all of the leaders in the company to get those use cases going and make sure that they are ahead. And if you think about it too, like Ziff Davis is a company that transformed itself into the digital age. I mean, they came from a storied background of being like the best of the best in tech publishing. And now the company is much bigger than it ever was. And it was through the use of leveraging technology. So that's in their DNA.
We all have these conversations around how AI is going to impact search and impact media. What's your take? What's your overall opinion in terms of how our AI, artificial intelligence is going to reshape what we've known for the last 10, 20, and 30 years?
I see search and AI as working together. I don't think that AI is going to completely change behavior such that people don't do search anymore. But I think that those two things will work together. And businesses that produce content are going to have the opportunity, like particularly content brands that have a specific voice and are known for specific categories, will have the advantage of creating their own LLMs to have proprietary access to their content. So I believe that, I mean, we're still in the very early phases of LLMs crawling all of the publishers and taking material from wherever, and sometimes creating reliable content, sometimes having hallucinations, to coming to a point where publishers get good at this and are able to leverage the creation of content that can be done very quickly, but with a human in the loop and the intuition of what's good, to be able to maintain the high excellence of what they've always produced and to keep an element of that proprietary approach to themselves.
Interesting. And so, who do you think, or do you think that there will be losers in this, right? Clearly, some companies are going to harness this the right way and they'll be the winners. So, who'll be the losers?
Yeah, I mean, there's always winners and losers. I think the losers will be the ones that just don't do anything. They'll be the doormats. There are certainly some out there that are going to be laggards. I don't know who they are, or who just, completely resist the trend of using AI and technology. Like I said before, I think that in order to get out ahead of it, you have to, in some ways, disrupt your own models, and become a participant in what's happening. Because you're not going to be able to stop. The cat is out of the bag, right? You're not going to be able to stop the waves of innovation that are coming through AI, and so you have to mitigate the risks, and you have to jump on board and use it to your advantage where you can.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs and leaders based on your journey and your experiences in this industry?
Well, I mean, look, there's entrepreneurs in lots of different categories. I think that some things are true for every single entrepreneur. It's like, make sure you have the right team of people around you, that you have the credibility to win in what you're doing. If there's a good idea, there's always more than one team pursuing it. So you have to be able to say why you will win. I would say also think big. Don't just try to create a company. Try to create a category. There's a great book called Play Bigger that talks about category creation. And the fact is that a category king usually takes 70% of a marketplace. So to the extent that your vision can be more than just where a company starts out, I think that you can really establish something that's meaningful. And then it's all about evangelism and getting people on board early that believe in your company, influencers from a space, investors that are, players in a particular category. It's definitely a visionary game.
So, how do you perceive the future of writing as a profession, especially in the context of the evolving digital platforms, content consumption trends, and generative AI?
I think that you have to think about, what does a higher volume of writing do for your business? I have a friend who owns a white paper business, and he said with the advent of Gen AI, he's never been more excited and he's never been more terrified, because obviously, a writing business could get steamrolled by Gen AI, but at the same time, if he's able to maintain the excellence that his business is known for, but create more content, he can get paid by a lot more customers. He said that he's never actually been able to reach the maximum of what some of the businesses who hire him will pay for with using human beings. So the reality is that, these days, companies want to produce so much content that you need to feed the beast. And, there needs to be more content created. So, but the emphasis needs to be on quality of that content and maintaining a voice and maintaining a brand, which is, how most great publishing brands are established and, kept relevant. So I think that those things still matter.
So, what are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned from your experiences in leadership, entrepreneurship, and in investing?
I think, when it comes to starting any company or running any company, it's talent, talent, talent. Who can you get to join you? How can you leverage the skills of the people around you to drive your business forward and to get the people within your company to believe and get the people outside of your company to believe? It's all about that big idea, the vision, and then aligning others toward the same goal.
They always say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. So what's next for you?
I'm going to continue to stay focused on where innovation is happening and using my experience with AI to help companies apply, their growth strategies, their innovation strategies, make sure that they can stay relevant. So I'll be out there interfacing with startups, but also serving on boards and staying connected to the people that I've gotten to know over the years.
So Sarah, this was great. Thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to have a conversation with you. I'm sure everyone's going to appreciate and be fascinated with your insights.
Thanks so much again for having me, Donovan.